Let's go. Alright, so, blast from the past once again. Since that Regicide Fortress game, everybody seems to be loving the old games from 2003, 2004, you name it, we've got it. And this one right here is from the Arbalete Cup. The Arbalete Cup used to be a semi-regular tournament, actually, back in the day. And we've got I believe this is the finals, which were played on the 10th of August, 2003. A good 11 years ago, how to math, between Bender and L-Clan Chris. L-Clan Bender here in the blue off to the west of the map. He's playing as the Mongols, and his opponent, L-Clan Chris, in yellow, playing as the Saracens up to the north of the map. The map, of course, being a Fortress and Regicide Fortress. The game mode should be a lot of fun, and what a great way to start this little series off. Regicide Fortress and non-mirror civs as well. Mongols versus Saracens. Two real powerhouse civilizations in the late game, actually. Both the Mongols and the Saracens with that siege ram upgrade available, and with Regicide Fortress being a fast start with all those extra villagers, and with the Regicide Fortress starting with the walls already, it's pretty common to see a 3 or 4 TC boom these days. And with the way that these guys used to play, more like a 7 TC boom back in 2003. So we're going to see a big boom coming up here, and of course that is expected. But what does that mean for the game? It means we will be getting to the Imperial Age, most likely. I mean, I say that now. I may end up eating my hat if I am wrong, but the very likelihood is that we will be getting to the Imperial Age, and we will be seeing a huge amount of heavy units, which these Titan civilizations sport in the late game. Chris there getting a little close to that tower with his fat waddly king, but fortunately escaping without losing a single bit of health. Of course, scouting with the king even in 2003 was a done thing, and you're just gotta be very careful with it, not to run into the enemy castle. Otherwise, it might be GG a little bit prematurely. So, yes, Mongols, Saracens, fantastic late-game civilizations, both, as I said, with the Siege Onager upgrade. Will we see that upgrade? Well, I almost hope we will. Now, the Mangudai will be very good, I think, in this situation, especially against... Oh, look at that. That scout for Bender going down. That was unfortunate. But the Mangudai, I think, going to be fantastic in this game against the Mameluke. Now, the Mameluke, it's a great unit to deal with cavalry, but the Mongol is not primarily a cavalry civilization. The Mameluke is a strong unit anyway, but the problem with the Mameluke when facing Mangudai is that the Mangudai outrange them. They fire very quickly, and the Mameluke will probably not stand up to too much Mangudai fire. And I think overall the Mameluke will probably get owned by the Mangudai once those upgrades are done. Now, the Saracens, though, still very, very strong. They could still go for a halberdier and siege combination. That would work very well. And they can also, of course, do camels. Now, that could be an option. Now, camels, again, good at anti-cavalry, which is what the Saracens really kind of work very well as. The Saracens with the best camels in AOC. But if Chris can protect his camels, he might be able to close the gap between the Mangudai here against Bender. But I honestly think for Bender, if he just goes for the classic combination of Hussar and Mangudai, and if he can afford it, Siege Onager as well, then he's got a great shot at taking this game in the late game. Noticed as well, Chris's scout dead on the floor by that castle there. That looks like they both lost their scout to the enemy castle. Fortunately, it wasn't the king, and that's the main thing here. Man, I still cannot get over that Coven game, the Coven and Cab game, where Cab came back from that 2v1. I swear, I've never seen anything so amazing in my life. And people in the comments section on YouTube kind of saying things like, well, you know, these guys would get steamrolled by today's players and things like that. And it's true. I mean, Chris in 2003 would get steamrolled by any top 10 player in 2014. But the point is, these guys were the best at the time. And those games were just incredible, and just the kill on that final king at the end there, Archangel's king. It was just too good to be true. It was too good to be true. Yet it happened. It's just like, what the hell? insane stuff, and I've got high hopes for this game as well. I'm sure you guys in the chat probably have as well. So, question to you in the chat: is the chat still updating on the screen on the bottom here? Because sometimes it does break, and sometimes it's not always working out as well as I'd like it to. So let me know, and if that chat is still updating on the screen there. Had quite a little bit of trouble getting it to work. So one thing you'll notice here is Chris is up to the feud age, but you know what? He's not even taken that boar there. He is neglecting his boar, and I don't know why. You know, oh, okay, I know why. He's not scouted it. That's why. Chris only just finding that boar. So that's really kind of sad. Chris missing out on that boar there. Kind of a big mistake. And if you look at the difference in farms, Bender with just 5 farms out. Chris at the moment with 3, 6, 9, 10 farms. Obviously, we are going to see a big boom from him, but seriously, 10 farms versus 5 at this stage, kind of a big deal, and that's mostly because, yeah, Chris had to seed them a little bit sooner to make up for the fact that he didn't have this boar. So, Chris, stable blacksmith, and he's going to go up to the castle age straight away. Obviously, fast castle for both of them. It just makes too much sense. But look at this. Chris is really preparing for this boom. He's got it down. I think, you know, if you ever watch me play, I'm always getting housed. My motto is, well, it's not even a motto, it's just a saying now, it's just a thing. It's the truth. Forever housed is what I am. But Chris is prepared. 70 population headroom, and he's got 28 population. Obviously, he is preparing to do, you know, a huge boom here. 420 wood in the bank, and yeah, I mean, he's not taking any stone yet, but he's, there we go, moving that builder over to make that mining camp. Get a little bit of extra stone for those extra TCs. Bender does seem to me to be slightly further ahead in terms of the stone income. The stable and blacksmith going up for him now, but a little bit slower up to the castle age. 29 population for Bender, 30 now. As he clicks up, Chris going up on 28. Quite a significant time difference, actually. Chris much faster on the castle age upgrade, but Bender will go up with slightly more eco, and he's going to go up with a lot more stone already. He's already got the 200 for two new town centers even. So we're going to be seeing a lot of TCs from them, and Bender here as well, also adding in 2 houses, more houses, 70 population headroom, 75 after this one's up. They're not letting anything go to risk. I mean, they're going to be adding in 2 more TCs, which is going to add another 10 population headroom, which takes them up to 80, and yeah, that's kind of funny. I should start doing that. I should just make all my houses in the feudal age, and that way I'd never get population capped again. It's a good way to avoid it, I guess, but also not a waste of wood, but kind of tying your resources up unnecessarily, I think. I don't know. Anyway, they're going to do a huge boom. We know that much. And Chris already moving his villagers into position to build that town center. Getting over there a little bit sooner. So as soon as that castle age upgrade is done, he can whack that TC up. And I think he's probably going to put it here or here. We'll see. I think here would be better because he could put farms around it. Either way, we will see. It looks like he's actually heading at the back. Where is he sending these villagers? Is he actually going to put it over here? Where's he going? He's putting it over here. Right, okay. Well, I'm wrong. I thought he would want to secure a little bit of gold with that, but no, he's going to go and put it right at the back of his base. But that's not going to be the only TC he builds. That'll be the first. He's going to obviously get a little bit more stone in from this villager here, and then we'll see that 3rd town center coming up. But straight away, Chris starting some Mameluke production. Bender scouting this TC pretty quickly though, and actually going to harass these villagers, slowing that TC going up, which is kind of nice. If he can slow that down, that'll make up for the fact he's slightly slower up to the castle age. So he is up to the castle age now as well, and his first town center is going up on this left side on the wood. Now, wood obviously a hugely important resource in the early castle age. Obviously for all of those farms, for those extra TCs, it's really necessary, and I like this. Bender really slowing this production down. Very well done by him. And just gonna cause idle time, reduce the amount of HP, and he's also upgraded to light cavalry as well. So if only he would attack the same villager, he might actually even get a kill. If he focuses down the one that's weak, this one here for instance, he may even get a kill here. Doesn't matter which, I guess, but look at this, delaying this TC so much. I'm liking it, and Chris now trying to wall his villagers in. Is he gonna do it in time? Yes, he is. Chris with a nice little quick wall there, and that town center's gonna go up, but that was really unnecessarily awkward for Chris, and made so by Bender, of course, and he did a good job there. Chris is third TC, no sign of that just yet, though he can now afford it. Bender, on the other hand, just with the second TC as well. In fact, no, the third TC going up on the right side, and he's still saving up some stone, still bringing in some stone. He's got another 200 in the bank. He could still make some more. And he probably will do that as well, though he's actually spending obviously a little bit of wood now on these Mangadai, queuing them up, and well, we'll see if he adds in more TCs or just saves for castles. So we've got Mamelukes out on the map. Now, if we have a look at the stats, just to remind ourselves, to refresh ourselves, the Mangadai here, 4+1 range. They don't have a huge range advantage at the moment, but once Bracer is done and they have 4+3 range, they're going to get quite an advantage over the Mameluke in terms of damage output. They're going to be able to do more damage over time. Now, they have 1 less base damage, 6 base damage versus the 7 of the Mameluke. And they have no pierce armor, no melee armor. That's the same for both of them here. But the Mameluke does have an extra 25 HP. And the Mameluke is going to be a little bit tanky, actually, in the late game. Not quite as tanky as heavy cavalry, but they will have quite a lot of health once those upgrades come in. Once Bloodlines is done, once Elite Mameluke is done, once the unique tech's done as well, they will get a little bit of extra bonus HP, and they're going to be on about, I think it's 110 maximum HP, which is not huge when you think about it. But it's going to be a little bit more tanky. But the problem is he needs to close the gap between the Mamelukes and the Mangadai. Otherwise, the Mangadai can literally sit there, take advantage of that fast firing speed, and rip them to shreds. So, going to be really important for Chris to keep his Mamelukes safe. They're a very expensive unit, and maybe try and sort of hit and run Bender a little bit rather than fighting those Mangadai head on. But this is all speculation. I mean, I'm excited to see how they fight, because it's gonna be I think it's gonna be tough for the Saracen player. That's why I'm speculating. That's why I'm kind of excited. But Bender coming in, looking to hit some of Chris's eco now. Gonna probably pick off a villager here actually. And I mean, this is nice by Bender. He's gonna not stop harassing this TC by the looks of it. And Chris now getting up a third TC on this south side of this wood. Fortunately, Bender's not spotted yet, but if he does see that, he could deny that TC. Looks like he will just sit on this hill and annoy Chris for now, though. May even snipe another villager or two. Some of these are fairly weak, actually, and just force Chris to keep on his toes and keep putting villagers inside the TC. It's going to hurt his economy by doing that. We've also got another TC on the left side for Chris. Going to start booming that up, and he's moving the Mamelukes over now as well, with this TC just popping up in time. We'll see this now then, 6 versus 6, but oh, unfortunately, Bender getting caught under that TC. The Mameluke now, when they do get in range, they're going to do huge damage to the Mangadai. They really are going to do damage, but got to close the gap. Going to be able to snipe one off there, and I think if Bender hadn't got caught under the TC or caught out, maybe he would have been able to fight a little bit better. But Chris, good positioning, able to very quickly take those Mangadai down, and yeah, I think it'll be very good for Bender at the moment, managing to get a couple of kills, keep Chris on his toes. So yeah, all speculation, but very soon we'll get to the meat of the action. Bender now on 4 TCs, Chris on 4 as well, and for once we're not seeing like a 7 TC boom, or are we? Chris adding in his 5th now at the back. Surprisingly though, he's not put any TCs on these golds piles. I'm surprised at that. You'd think he'd want to lock this down. Perhaps he wants to wall across here a little later on, just to lock this gold down, because this is kind of exposed on this right hand side. Bender's got a gold on the front. He's sticking up a TC on there right now. That's his 5th as well. And it seems like, yeah, his main gold is fairly safe behind this wall. And his other gold is also out on the front. So Bender, it seems, going for those gold on the, well, his gold on the front. But like I say, I'm surprised Chris hasn't gone for the gold on this right-hand side. But we'll see. I mean, he's probably going to go for that a little later on. And we're going to see a few skirmishes in the center of the map, it seems, between the Mangadai and the Mameluke. Now, the Mangalai, that's a new one. Mangadai with +2 range now. Has to stay out of range of these Mameluke, though, because the Mameluke will hit like trucks. But Bender gonna fight, gonna try and hit and run a little bit, gonna try and dodge those flying swords that the Mameluke wield there, and if he keeps running and keeps getting caught out, he's going to lose quite a lot. And you know what? Mameluke really look like they're coming out on top at the moment. Bender still, of course, needing those extra range upgrades. But Chris whittling down the health on these guys. And if he keeps annoying Bender like this, Bender's not going to have any Mangudai left. He needs to get out the way, get on some high ground, and get the advantage on Chris in terms of attacking first and then retreating, and attacking and then retreating. Chris doesn't want to run under the TC though, and that's understandable. And I think at the moment, these Mangudai are very squishy for now. Once the upgrades come in, once, of course, Thumb Ring is done, once Bloodlines is done, once the armor upgrades are done, once Brace is done, once the Elite upgrade is done. Yes, Mangudai have a lot of upgrades. They have the most upgrades on any unit in the game. Once those upgrades are done, I think they're going to be in for a very good shot. But until then, Mangudai take a little while to heat up. They're a little bit like a carry in Dota or something like that. You know, in the early game, they're kind of squishy, they're kind of weak, and then once they get upgraded, once they get farmed up like hell, they become an absolute powerhouse for the late game. So Imperial Age is not too far off. It doesn't look like it's anywhere near, but Imperial Age is not too far off, sorry. It's what, 99 population each. They're both booming up on 5 TCs, and once they get enough farms out, that food is going to start rocketing up, and the upgrades are going to be coming in very soon. Wow, Chris's eco on this right-hand side is massive. I actually take that back. I thought he was just going to do a 4 TC boom. Let's count up quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 TCs. Bender. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 TCs. Okay, so it's 6 TCs versus 7 TCs. And their economies are growing at massively fast speed. But Chris now putting up some archery ranges on the front. He's got a stable on the right side, researching light cavalry, and I think actually that's a good idea. I think that's going to be a good idea. In fact, going for some light cav just to try and perhaps raid Bender's eco a little bit. That'll be very nice. And ranges coming up on the front as well. Meanwhile, at the blacksmith, no upgrades are going on there just yet. Just kind of watching these buildings, seeing what gets upgraded, if anything. Bender at the moment hasn't got an archery range or anything like that. He's just pumping out the Mangudai for the time being. And also, actually, he did do the pikeman upgrade. So I think, yeah, Bender may actually go for some halbs here later on, just to kind of pad out the front of his army a little bit and give the Mangudai some cover or something to fire behind. We've got a siege workshop going up for Chris already, though. I think that's a nice decision. We may see some nice siege units coming out, and Chris going straight away into skirmishers. In fact, he's doing the elite skirmisher upgrade now in anticipation of these Mangudai, I imagine. Elite skirmisher being researched, which is very nice. And Imperial Age upgrade, where is it? It's still not on anywhere at the moment. With the TC coming up on the right side, that's the 8th town center now for Chris. Kind of mad. And Bender gonna do a little bit of eco damage back here. Nicely done. Getting in the back and sniping a couple of villagers. But Chris is on the prowl, and Bender's gonna run straight into him if he's not careful. Taking a little bit of arrow fire from this watchtower. But man, the Mamelukes are just so fast. They're just so fast. They catch up really nicely to the Mangudai. But it looks like Bender may just get away. And Chris now showing his hand, showing the elite skirmishers that are already out on the map. And I think Bender could just absolutely kill it with some Mangonels and with some onagers here. Mameluke and skirmishers die quite quickly to onagers, and it's often the case that Mangudai and Mameluke are both countered by siege onagers. Well, perhaps not necessarily countered, but they certainly make a really strong addition to the army. Chris actually adding in some battering rams right now. The problem with siege, though, against the Mangudai is that the Mangudai destroy siege pretty quickly. You know, they have that attack bonus against siege units. They're kind of like Chuko Nu in that sense. They will wreck rams pretty quickly. But it looks like Chris coming forwards already with a very, very early attack. considering that he's not actually upgrading to the Imperial Age yet. In fact, he's delaying his Imperial Age upgrade quite a lot to try and get the jump on Bender here by the looks of things. Pushing forwards now with these Mameluke and with these elite skirms, looking to try and take this castle down quite quickly by the looks of things. But look at this. Those rams going down so quickly. They're going to get 1 or 2 shots on the castle, and that's it. 1 down, 2 down, and Bender getting inside the castle with the Mameluke. Sorry, not with the Mameluke, with the Mangudai. Interesting decision, but that's actually really clever because the Mameluke dies so quickly to castle fire. It's actually going to kill a lot of Mamelukes this way. He's probably just one-shotting these Mamelukes right now with this castle fire. Yeah, one-shotting the Mamelukes. They are just getting absolutely destroyed by this arrow fire, and the Mangudai are just going to clean up the rams pretty quickly here as well. I like this play from Bender a lot, and bear in mind, if you look at this, yep, he's just releasing them all. He's still got a ton of Mangudai in there. He kept them all alive, and now he can focus down this ram at the back with these Mangudai doing extra damage to those rams, and the light cavalry coming out from Bender here as well, which he upgraded earlier on, doing that extra damage to, well, not extra damage, doing great damage even to the skirms. So now he's cleaned up the Mameluke. He's got no problem at all adding in those extra light cavs and doing good damage to these trash units that Chris is building. It amazes me that Chris is now building trash already, and he's not clicked up to the Imperial Age yet. He's sacrificed that Imperial upgrade to try and rush this castle down, and it did not work. Now, in this day and age, when you see 1v1s in Regicide Fortress, they will both boom in the Castle Age, both players will go up to the Imperial Age, and then as soon as they hit Imperial, the Trebs will come out from the castles, and they will start pushing forwards. Now, this game, Chris has totally done it the other way around, and he's pushed massively in the Castle Age, died horribly, and now he's struggling to hit Imperial, whilst Bender did a fantastic defense, and Bender now going to, by the looks of things, be able to push this back a little bit. Chris keeping on the army production though, but Bender's going to get a huge upgrade advantage very soon, and that could be quite a trouble for Chris to deal with now. Looking quickly, he's not got an archery range yet. Looking at what Bender's doing, this is no upgrades coming in at all by the looks of things. There we go. Bracer now on the way, which is good. And at the moment, he only has the 2 castles. But the Elite Mangudai upgrade is probably not too far away, actually. And, wow, he's going to be careful, actually. There's a lot of trash here from Chris. I'm surprised Chris is adding so much trash. He's also upgraded it quite a lot as well. Look at that. +2/+2 on the skirms. The pikes from Chris actually have +1/+2. So he's actually spent a lot of resources on even upgrading these units as well. Bender, though, Bracer's done. He's got a university up now as well. Bloodline's just completed, so he's gone up to 80 health on the Mangudai. This castle's still standing strong for the time being. This ram going to get taken down once again, but Chris continuing to push in, and actually he has got an attack advantage here as well, because Bender built his castle at the bottom of this hill. I can't believe this, actually. Chris is looking like he's very much going to take this castle down at this point in time with sheer persistence. Whether or not it's worth it, I don't know, because Chris is losing, a good amount of units, a good amount of rams, but I think the castle may actually go down. Was it worth it? I'd say it probably was. Against the Mongol, take their castles down. That's kind of huge, because the Mongols really rely quite heavily on having those castles up to produce the Mangudai, which they so dearly rely on in the late Imperial Age. So the castle goes down, and Chris actually rushing that one down very, very effectively, very well, and he's still in the Castle Age. The Imperial Age upgrade is only just coming in for Chris now. Bender's been in the Imperial Age for quite some time, yet he has been on the defensive, and I don't think that is where he wanted to be at all. Nicely done by Chris as well, raiding this TC on the right. Look how many dead villagers there are here. A lot of dead vills. Chris managing to do good damage with those light cavalry as well, raiding where he can. This castle has now gone up for Bender though, and Bender's just, I don't know, looking very defensive at the moment. It's probably not such a bad thing. Light cavalry on the way out, though, and Bender's struggling for food by looks of things at the moment. Conscription just being completed, and he really is making a lot of light cavs here, queuing up a huge number of light cavalry, sinking all of his food into that. But look at his gold, look at his wood. He has got so much to spend, but not spending it at the moment. Not spending it too well for the time being. Perhaps another siege workshop, some more mangonels, perhaps that onager upgrade could be good. The elite mangonite upgrade needs to be coming in fairly soon as well, if he wants to have you know, a really strong army. But Chris now is up to the Imperial Age. For Chris, more Mamelukes for the time being. Upgrades Iron Casting, which is the attack, of course, for those Mamelukes there. And also, well, I'm trying to have a look. Were those Mamelukes elite? No, of course they're not elite. Not yet, anyway. I'm trying to see what else is coming in for Chris. Light cavalry on the way out. Of course, the light cavalry for the Mongols is a good choice. They do have extra health, 98 health for the light cavalry. Their hussars have the most health in the game once they've got bloodlines done. So it's a good choice of unit, but Chris is making quite a few spears here, and the Mameluke will absolutely shred through the light cavalry. Light cavalry, well, cavalry in general, just dive very quickly to the Mameluke. I feel like Bender throwing these units away here at the moment, and I think he really needs to kind of focus on that mangonite production and start massing them up quite heavily. The Saracens at the moment, though, doing a great job. And Chris is just continuing to push in with these rams. I think maybe Cap's ram is on the way. Nope, it's not. You'd think maybe. You'd think maybe. But Chris, he's got a lot of population. He's spent most of his resources. He's sank them all into military production by looks of things. And there's the elite Mameluke upgrade now. 100 health on the elite Mameluke. 10 plus 2 attack. Pretty huge at this point in time. And the elite mangonite upgrade finally done for Bender as well. But he is lacking those defense upgrades. He is lacking things like chemistry. He's probably lacking thumb ring. He doesn't have an archery range at all. But he has now done that hussar upgrade. 117 health on those hussars. But Bender, so defensive at the moment. Finally, actually doing hoardings. Wow, okay. Bender's doing hoardings because his castles are getting taken down so quickly. That is kind of like, wow, okay. Chris is owning this at the moment. His economy just all over the map here, doing a fantastic job. And just sitting on this hill, retreating back to the hill when he feels he's in trouble. And that capped ram upgrade is now done as well. Bender's main wall just left open at the moment. And Bender, population capped now. He's got a lot of resources still. But those upgrades seem to be so slow to come in. Finally getting that +2 armor on those mangonite. I think maybe he prioritized the hussar upgrades. But still, even they are lacking the attack upgrades. Let's see how this one goes. Bender's just patrolling forwards here by the looks of things. His castle adding some fire from behind. And he is going to push Chris back quite quickly there. Those massive mangonites dropping from the castle. Those, what are they called? Hussars. Cleaning things up. Very nicely done by Bender there. And his army, I think, at this point in time, is very strong. He just needs to deal with this siege from Chris and his base. And fortunately for Bender, he has regained that map control at the front. But the nice thing about this for Chris is he has denied Bender's gold for quite some time. Bender losing that front gold there, and he was also a little bit, well, struggling a little bit to take this gold on the right side. Chris, though, relentless. He's coming in on this right side now with some capped rams as well. And Chris just seems to set his gather point forwards and go. But now, he has been pushed back. And Bender's going to clean these rams up pretty quickly with these hussar as well. I don't think they're going to do too much more damage now. Taking down that university, it's no great shakes. It's not such a huge loss. But Chris now, it seems, just running these units in and perhaps going to lose them. I'd be surprised if this castle goes down. Bender taking, it seems, way too long to react. I mean, mangonite are good against siege, but nothing's popping out this castle. He's population capped, and he's not bringing anything back at all to protect this castle. I am very surprised. Now, you know what? I think this castle might actually fall, which would be very sad because those castles are not easily replaceable, which is obviously a big problem. Quite a few Mamelukes out for Chris now. That's it, 130 health on the Mamelukes. So I was wrong with the 110, but I knew they gained some more. It's 130. 4 defense, 4 extra attack. That's huge. Mameluke here absolutely owning it. Bender getting in range and getting absolutely cut down now. These Mangudai still lacking those extra, or the final defense upgrades. Still lacking Thumb Ring as well. And actually getting cleaned up very quickly by those Mamelukes. It's, in theory, nice to have the Mangudai against the Mamelukes if they can stay out of range. But as soon as those Mamelukes get in range, they are absolutely destroying everything, which is very good for Chris if he can keep them coming out. But look at this on the right side. That castle went down. Bender's TC likely to fall if he doesn't get there in time as well. And I'm very surprised at that. He just let that flank fall. So yeah, the Mangudai do huge damage against the Mangudai if they're in range. That's the problem. And Bender seems to be running these Mangudai in right into the range of the Mamelukes. And look, he's got 4+3 range. He's got an extra 4 range. If he can have something in front to tank the swords, then he'll be fine. But if he doesn't, then those Mangudai will go down pretty quickly. The Mameluke's just so strong with that 130 health. But it looks like Bender has got what he needs now. Siege Ram coming forwards on the right side, trying to take down those castles. And it looks like he has got Chris pushed back slightly. Just got to deal with these Hussars now. But Bender does have the advantage with the Hussars with that 117 health versus 95. But Chris with those +4 defense upgrades. Bender still seems to be so slow getting those upgrades in. He's still lacking the final defense upgrade on the Mangudai. Still lacking the final attack upgrade on the Hussars. The Mongols not getting +4 cavalry defense. But yeah, I think at the moment it's looking pretty good for Chris still, even though Bender's got him on the defensive. I just think Chris, if he can get a mass of Mamelukes, and if he can get a mass of pikes, then he might be able to push it right back pretty quickly. But Bender starting to change the momentum of this battle so far. Chris seems to be, setting these units forward to a gather point, and they're getting killed off before they get to the gather point, which is often a big problem. This castle looks like it's going to be falling as well. But Chris's army composition is really nice, and these Mamelukes are doing great damage back here as well. I'm just wondering how much resource he's got at the moment. Let's see, he's still got a lot of gold that's untaken on this right-hand side, which again surprises me. Earlier on, he was really not prioritizing this gold very much, and at the moment, he's only got, what, 4, 5, 6, 7 villagers taking this gold on the right-hand side. He's almost out of gold. Yet that's what he needs at the most right now. He needs gold for the Mameluke, and he's hardly got any Mameluke production for the time being, whilst Bender is coming forwards and killing off his army pretty quickly. Chris just seems to be very invested in making pikemen, which is kind of unusual, I think. I mean, he can afford a lot of pikemen, but why not send a few more villagers over to gold here and actually get some more Mamelukes out? Because we've seen already how great those Mamelukes can be if only he can make them. That's the thing. This castle looks like it was about to fall, but that trebuchet getting sniped at the last second. Bender, though, actually doing a fantastic job now of holding out. But if he keeps fighting these pikes one-on-one, the Hussars will eventually go down. And there we go. He's finally got that +4 defense upgrade on the Mangudai. And let's see. I'm wondering what he's actually missing. Uh-oh. Siege Ram coming in. And Chris is trying to wall this castle up to prevent it from going down. But it looks like the castle will probably go down now against this Siege Ram. Although saying that, one villager repairing, one Hussar attacking it. But I think it's too late. I think it's probably going to fall. I don't know, actually. Is it going to fall? Is the Ram going to do it? That's the question. No, the Ram's going to go down. Wow, 300 health. That was really close. If that villager wasn't repairing, perhaps it wouldn't have gone down. But wow, Bender now really does seem to be overrunning Chris. Look at this on the back as well. Raiding his economy quite a lot. Actually, a lot of villagers going down here. And it doesn't seem like this comeback from Chris is all too possible at the moment. The strength of these Hussars is fantastic, backed up by a few Mangadai, and they really do a lot of damage. This castle finally looks like it's about to fall as well, now that Bender's finally got his Hussars attacking that, yes, because that's what he needed, Hussars, not Rams. And, yeah, the eco raiding from Bender has been fantastic. Hussars, one of the best units to raid eco with, and when they are Mongol Hussars as well, they do so much more damage. Bender finally with that +4 attack on the Hussars now, and now those upgrades have all been completed. Bender should, I think, finish this game off very swiftly. Chris probably going to lose this gold on the right side, these villagers over here as well, and now he's got a ram train coming in. This castle will finally fall. How long has it taken? It's taken so long. Chris seems to be getting a few more pikes out now. Fully upgraded, remember. And Bender seems to have a ton of rams. Not a huge amount of hussars left. They do die pretty quickly once they start fighting those pikes and Mameluke head-on. And I wonder what Chris's eco is looking like. Yeah, pretty dead at the moment. No gold at all. Very little food, very little wood. And I think he's struggling to get food over here because look at this. None of these farms are being worked. Bender has raided his economy so hard that Chris has lost all of these farmers. And he's continuing to move in as well. And let's not forget, this is actually regicide. So Bender actually going for this castle back here, which is where Chris's king is. And these rams being taken down quite quickly by the Mameluke here. I don't think Bender's going to be able to get the king. I think that the rams are going to go down way too quickly. But he's starting to hit on that castle. He's starting to chat that castle up, ask it out on a date. But the castle's not having any of it. Hardly losing any health at all. And Chris actually getting a decent army up here. With these Mamelukes starting to take a few, well, getting to a few numbers. These pikes, a lot of them on the map. But Bender now just changing his focus. He's got Chris backed up on the left side, but now he's switching to the right side, going for the next castle. And this castle looks like it's going to fall, actually. There's nothing anywhere nearby to protect it. 4 siege rams coming in. That's huge. And Bender's got all of this eco from Chris just on lockdown now. A lot of messy stuff at the back for Chris. And Chris just continuing to make pikes, which is actually a good choice at the moment, it seems, because Bender is making a lot of hussars. And by a lot of hussars, I mean just non-stop hussars, 24/7. But that castle goes down. Chris bringing in the Mameluke. He'll take out the rams very quickly, which is kind of costly to Bender. That's pretty much where he's spending his gold at the moment. And he'll probably take out the hussars as well. The Mameluke here doing a great job. But the problem for Chris now is that he's lost 2 castles. He's only got 1 castle left. And he has no gold income. He's got, what, 5 villagers taking gold at the moment, which means no Mamelukes anymore. And Bender's raiding this economy on the left. He's raiding the eco on the right. He's not stopping. And Chris's population is down to 167 now. Most of that seems to be pikemen, I think. And Bender, 177. Losing a lot of units, but he's got a lot more food in the bank. He can continue to produce these units all day long. And he's now switching into skirmishers as well. For a little bit of extra firepower against the pikes. He's got to take those pikes down, and running into them with light cavalry is not the way to deal with the pikemen. But it's nice to see him raiding like crazy. He's doing a huge amount of raiding here. No portion of Chris's eco is safe, and this gold is just annoying me. I want to see Chris taking this gold, but he's not, and I'm just not 100% sure as to why. It's like, well, obviously I understand it's being raided, but there was never any focus here from Chris, it seemed, on getting this gold taken. Just all on the food, all on the wood, all on making trash, and I mean, we're talking about pikemen here. And of course, now that Bender has the elite skirms on the field as well, could be trouble. Could be big trouble for Chris now. As that gold is just continually denied, time after time. More TCs coming up, because that's what you need. If you're winning the game, add a few more TCs. Why not? And Bender just coming in once again. I think he wants to rush this castle down. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes for it. Look at those siege rams as well. They just move so fast. I love it. I love how fast the rams move. They're closing the distance. They're getting in there, and they're going for that castle. They are not messing around. Bender going straight for it. And if you can get that castle down, and if you can just deal with this army on the right-hand side, if you get that castle down, then Chris will probably lose his king. It's pretty surrounded at this point in time. And the problem here for Chris is that he's got no real defenses. You know, his eco's wide open on this right-hand side, and every time that Bender goes to raid it, he has to go and send more units backwards. And there's the king. Oh, wow, there's the king. Chris, it's been chased down, and Bender getting the last hit of the game. The king goes down, and Chris loses the game. Wow, it's so unusual these days to see regicide fortress games being ended with the death of the king. But there you go, Bender sniping that king as it runs from the castle, and a great game from Bender there. I said at the start that I thought the Mongols would have the upper hand. Now I think if Chris had actually taken his gold, and if Chris had focused perhaps a little bit more on Mameluke production, then that could have gone much more in favor of him. I like what he did in the castle age, ramming that castle down very quickly. It worked really well, actually. It did keep Bender on the defensive for quite some time, but Chris never really got a solid amount of units in the Imperial Age, and once Bender had those upgrades done, you saw how he slowly started pushing back. Every time it seemed like he got another upgrade, he made a few more advances, and it worked out really well. So, very good game there from Bender, and this guy is fantastic. So that's great. We've got another couple of games coming up from these guys as well. This is the Arbalete Cup, and this is game 1. We're going to go to game 2 in a minute and see how that one goes.